This audio is the best I've ever heard, OMG. Everyone is saying it, but genuinely as an audio engineer, this is the best live audio the beatbox scene has ever heard. Holy audio. These are just some of the many comments in the YouTube videos of GBB 2024. Nah, just kidding. This was in German Champs 2026, not GBB 2024. What the hell? I'm writing the script a couple weeks after all of the GBC global category videos have finished releasing, and yeah, the level was super high. But in the comment section of every single one of these videos, the biggest topic of conversation is always the audio quality. And you know why that is? It's because the audio in GBB has not been that good lately. And since GBB is consistently the most viewed, most popular live beatbox event, we have all gotten used to mediocre audio. And so people are getting surprised when a different event has good audio. It's gotten to the point that people are saying that Swiss Beatbox should actually hire the audio engineers from Beatbox Germany to get good sound again. But the thing is, it wasn't always like this. GBB used to have the undisputed best audio out of all the events. For example, I personally believe that GBB 2019 has the best sound that we have ever seen in a beatbox event so far. It was the prime example of a fantastic viewing experience for a live beatbox event. You can really feel the punchiness of the kicks and the energy of the crowd, and everything is so crisp and full, and it's perfect, okay? The next GBB was in 2021. A lot of people love the audio in these videos. I personally don't think it's amazing. It has this big, roomy vibe with a ton of reverb, and I guess that makes sense because the venue was huge. A lot of the beatboxers sounded amazing with this kind of sound, especially King Inertia comes to mind. But then there were other moments which, I don't know, I felt like they sounded kind of empty and flat in comparison to the sort of punchiness and clarity of GBB 2019, but that's honestly just my personal taste. You're allowed to have your own opinion about this one. Next, we have GBB 2023 in Tokyo. I love the production of this GBB. The sound is so good. Maybe it might be a little bit too compressed. Sometimes the bass frequencies can be a little too loud, but at least you can hear everything. Every single little detail in every single combo is crystal clear. Abo Ice sounds amazing, and in my opinion, he sounds better here than he ever sounded in any other event he's ever been in. River sounds amazing here. I think that River also sounds better here than he ever has in any other event, past or future. Why? Because these guys have a lot of intricate tech, and compressed audio makes tech sound good. Case in point, GBB 2024. They removed all of the compression and the limiter from the mix. This audio sucks. Why does everything sound so thin? Why can I barely hear any of the tech? Every single snare is barely audible, and some of the kicks are really bad too. A good chunk of like Osis's tech combos don't really sound that great. Look at Wing's elimination. This was the first time he ever dropped dopamine, but the way it sounds in the video is like a jank-ass Walmart version of the actual dopamine. Look at the lowest ranked elimination. It was Bly Krepsley, and this guy, he's a decently powerful beatboxer, but then his best drop, it was like this tech thing, and it sounded so flat. It was so flat you could chop food on that thing. A couple months ago, me and my friends had the privilege of hosting Remix. That remix, like the really good remix, on an episode of our podcast. And he actually explained to us, he had a lot of routines planned for GBB 2024, and they were focused on like crazy tech. But then he had to get rid of them because during a sound check, he realized they just didn't come through the mic. He actually demonstrated one of these tech breaks for us. And like, okay, just pay attention to how normal this pattern is. Like, are you really telling me that the mix was so bad that you can't even do this perfectly normal tech break? Like, this pattern would come through so easily on the sound system at like GBB 2019 or GBB 2023. If you're still not convinced, let me just play 2 clips side by side for you. So we're looking at Maxo, okay? He did an elimination in both 2023 and 2024. He has this like buildup where he does the same snare technique. And so I'm gonna play the clip from GBB 2023, which had the good audio. See how full that sounds? All right, now here's the clip from GBB 2024 with the uncompressed audio. Just take a moment to pay attention to how thin this technique sounds. The same technique. Do you hear that? What happened? Like, you can't look me straight in the eyes and tell me that GBB 2024 didn't have anywhere near the same quality as GBB 2023 sound-wise. I actually went through every single round of this GBB and counted which ones were hurt by the mix and which ones weren't hurt by the mix. And it was like half and half, which is a horrible ratio. If GBB is hurting half of the people's rounds because of their stupid mix, isn't that a problem? GBB, do better. In 2025, GBB did better. And I say this because at least you could hear everything, which honestly, that should just totally be the bare minimum anyways. Most of the beatboxers from GBB 2024 who also returned from GBB 2025 sounded a lot better in the 2025 version. So like Wing sounds a lot better. Pac-Mac sounds a lot better. Black Roll sounds a lot better. Even Kaji, who already sounded good, he sounds a lot better. Den sounds a lot better. But like, that's not only because of the sound system, right? Because a lot of these beatboxers probably remembered what the sound was like in the previous year. So they had a whole year to adapt their routines to use more like basses and push more in their drums and stuff. And I'm saying this because you look at their battle routines in GBB 2025 and there aren't that many drops with like a lot of tech. And whenever you do see tech, there's usually a lot of like powerful bassy sounds in the combo, like included with the tech. And these beatboxers probably did that on purpose because they knew that it would fit the GBB sound system more. And then another problem I have with GBB 2025, you really can't hear vibration bass that well. So the main vibration bass users this year, they were Codfish and Wing. And especially in Wing's final round against Pac-Max, that sound really did not hit that hard. And I know that vibration bass isn't a super powerful sound to begin with compared to other sounds like lip rolls and click rolls or whatever, but in the words of Den.
Speaking of Wing, the fact that like Wing's vibration and throat bass, it's not bad. It's one of the most refined sounds and it's not that quiet. Again, it surpasses that 50% sound barrier on a good sound system. It's gonna sound amazing. Example 2023 GBB, but it just sounded so flat compared to everything else. Yeah, but you know, click roll and lip roll are just naturally loud. Yeah, of course, that's why you put a compressor, bro. That's why. But you know, but you had to adapt and you know use all those big sounds. Like, yes, that's true, but wouldn't you want him to do vibration bass and throat bass as well and not have to succumb to these sounds every single time? That's where the beatbox community is progressing. You're not growing the community if you do the sound like this. You're gonna make it thing. And this grew the community in Great North because the sound was good. Everybody appreciated it. It was so enjoyable. I was able to enjoy everybody's sounds, and you can't do that if the sound is poo-poo because you're always gonna have to stick this meta and like, yeah, everyone's just gonna have to be brain dead. It's gonna be new phrase, loud beatboxer slop.
By the way, that's from his live streams. He has like this compilation where he talks about sound in one of his live streams. It's on his YouTube channel. Highly suggest watching that. It's super insightful. And like, I know I'm complaining about vibration bass right now, but it's not just vibration bass that gets nerfed with this kind of mix. There's other sounds too, like drums, like basic kicks, and especially snares. They sound so much worse in GBB 2025 than they did in GBB 2019. So that begs the question, Why did Swiss Beatbox stop using compression on their GBB videos? So for those who don't know, there was a live stream a few months ago. There's a bunch of people who were discussing and debating about the sound at GBB. There were a few recent GBB participants like Wing and Den and PacMax, and there were also a few recent judges as well, like D-Lo and Skiller. And then there was Christoph as kind of the spokesperson for Swiss Beatbox. And so according to Christoph, they went with a more raw approach to the audio at GBB 2024 and 2025 because the more natural sound would make it easier for judges to like evaluate certain aspects of a routine, like the cleanliness and the loudness. But according to Den, again, a loud beatboxer is still loud even if there's a compressor. He goes into a bunch of detail about this point in his live stream. Again, totally suggest watching that at some point. And plus, it's like not even about the loudness, bro. The better beatboxer with the better routines and the better performance, that beatboxer is gonna win no matter what the sound system is like, right? So for example, Julard at GBB 2024, a lot of people are saying this guy only won because the sound system was better for loud beatboxers. So did he win because that sound system favored him? I would say only partially. Julard still had crazy routines and amazing performance, not only the best volume. If that GBB was on a sound system with compression instead, Julard might still have won, because not only was he more powerful, he freaking destroyed everyone he battled with some crazy counters. This was some of the best freestyling I've ever seen, like on the same level as Napalm in my opinion. And then Christoph also said that compression nerfs loud beatboxers, and he brought up Maxo as an example of a loud beatboxer who was hurt by the compressed mix at GBB 2023. And like, I don't really know what to say about that point, except that it's kind of just a straight up lie. Like, especially this Maxo point. In 2023, there was compression and limiting, and Maxo got 9th out of 18 in the eliminations. And then in 2024, there was no compression. Guess what Maxo got? You would think that he would do better because he's a loud beatboxer and compression hurts loud beatboxers, right? No, he did worse. He got 13th out of 16. And that was an easier competition to do well in eliminations. Like GBB 2024, the level was generally not quite as high as in GBB 2023. And so you should be expecting that the more raw and natural audio in 2024 would help the loud beatboxer Maxo, but it did the opposite. Like, the sound is making his kicks and his snares kind of suck, man. A lot of his techniques just feel so flat. Even though they're loud, it's not about whether you're loud, it's about the kind of sounds you're using. Man, this is not nerfing loud beatboxers, it's just nerfing like normal beatbox sounds, man. And then you can also look at the other loud beatboxers. So for example, GBB 2023, who did well? River got first place, and he's a super loud beatboxer. Napalm got second place, and he's an extremely loud beatboxer. Abo Ice got fourth place, and he's a super loud beatboxer. And Wing, who got third, he's still reasonably loud at this event as well. See, the loudest beatboxers are still getting the highest placements. Like, I don't think we have seen a single example of a loud beatboxer who actually got nerfed by compression. And so personally, I'm not convinced that compression really does anything, like anything at all negative to sort of the integrity of the competition, like at all. The best beatboxers still win the higher placements, whether there is compressed audio or raw audio. So if it doesn't hurt the integrity of the competition, answer me this: why can't the videos at least have good audio? Like, I'm not talking from a live perspective or from a competition perspective. I'm talking from the perspective of the tens of millions of people who watch these things on YouTube. Everyone in the comment section of the YouTube videos, people who did not go there live, people who are only watching them on the YouTube videos, they're always talking about audio. I've seen so many people complain about GBB audio in the comment sections of other events like German Champs. Why? Because good audio in the YouTube videos adds so much to the viewing experience. I don't care if the actual event had compression or not. Just add compression to the audio files in the videos before uploading them for tens of millions of people to watch them. Now, I know what you're thinking. If the posted video has a different mix from the live event, wouldn't that make it kind of harder to tell what it was like to actually be there live? Wouldn't it be harder to tell, oh, why did this beatboxer win? Or why did this beatboxer rank high? And it's like, oh, our live audio was a completely different mix. And wouldn't that be a little bit annoying? And like, so just make it so that the live event audio is good then? Just match it that way. Just make them both compressed, man. Easy fix. And then the other thing is, no matter how hard you try to make the video audio similar to the live audio, it's never gonna match up exactly anyways. Like, for example, GBB 2025 eliminations. Me and my friends on the Talkbox podcast, we did not go to the live event. We were just watching the videos, but from those videos, we collectively agreed that Wing had the best elimination. But in the actual event, look what happened. Wing got second. Who got first? It was Kaji. And honestly, this confused us a little bit because when we watched the videos, it really seems like Wing had the better structured round, the better execution. But when I watched D-Lo, who was one of the judges for this event, who reacted to Kaji's elimination, he says that Kaji was so much better live than in the videos, and he clearly deserved the first place. So my point is, even though Swiss Beatbox tries their best to make the live audio and the video audio as similar as possible, they're not gonna get it exactly right. There will always be results that you can't perfectly understand from just the videos alone. So that begs the question, why even try? If Swiss Beatbox is fully committed to not using compression for their live audio, why can't they just compression for the YouTube audio? It doesn't have to match because it never will match perfectly anyways. You lose basically nothing by doing this, and yet you improve the viewing experience for so many people. This decision honestly feels like a no-brainer to me. From the live stream, it seems like the audio in GBB 2026 will be pretty similar to that of GBB 2025, but with something called light compression. Personally, I don't think it's a huge deal for like the integrity of the competition, but for my own viewing experience and for the viewing experience of everyone else who's going to be watching the live stream and who's going to be watching the edited videos, maybe that's a little concerning because based on this GBB's lineup, I really do want to see a lot of tech. Like, I want to see combos, right? I want to see Footbox G's combos, and I want them to sound good. I want River's combos to sound good. I want D-Lo's combos to sound good. So hopefully the light compression will help. But honestly, I'm not going to get my hopes up. My expectations are not that high. In my honest opinion, going back to GBB 2024, where they made that initial choice to remove compression from the videos and also carry that same decision into the next year of GBB 2025, that is the exact moment that they ruined the audio at GBB. And it seems like it's gonna take some time for them to get back on their feet.